Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Tabile here. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome too, and I very much appreciate your support. So today we have a new topic. In this topic, we are going to talk about dryness or wilderness in our lives. I mean, as a Christian, if you are a Christian, you know there's a certain time in our lives where that is called wilderness, where you go through difficult things in your life. I'll just say suffering. There's a lot of suffering in that kind of season. There's a lot of things not going the way you have planned. So that's just what I wanted to talk about today, because I'm sure many of us have gone through that season and come out on the other side. I believe going through wilderness or going through dry season in our lives helps us to bring out that which God already has installed in us. Because I only believe that we can become something. We can become what we are already are. I believe that we can become what we are already are. So God, when He created us as human beings, He already put everything that we are in us. So it's up to us through God to actually dig inside and bring out that which God has already stored in us. This can be come out in the fruit of the Spirit. This can come out as patience. This can come out as long suffering. This can come out as being patient with people, loving people, and caring for people. And mind you, most of these things that are inside us that maybe we haven't discovered yet, they are already in God. That they are already what God is. For example, God is the one that is patient with us. God is the one that is long suffering. God is loving. God is caring. God is all those things that we actually discover that we are when we go through dryness or wilderness. It brings up the things that God has already created inside us, but they are lying there dormant. We are not seeing them. Not necessarily that they are not there, but they are there, but we are not seeing them. So it takes a lot for those things to come out sometimes. For example, gold or diamond, or a crystal, before it actually becomes a crystal, or before it actually becomes diamond, it has to go through fire. It brings the beauty that is already inside that precious stone. But when you see that crystal in mud, you wouldn't think this is a precious crystal. You wouldn't think this is a precious diamond until until it goes through that fire and brings out the deep south. So I see wilderness and dryness as a season that actually brings a lot of good in us. It brings a lot of things that we are not aware of, until that fire, until that suffering, until that pressure, until that difficult time comes along and brings that in you, brings that out from inside you. Then when that season is over, you become what God has actually created you to be in the beginning. But it's just that we were not aware of that. Oh, I am a passionate person. You were not aware that, oh, I'm actually a loving and caring person. All those beautiful things about you, they start coming out, and you become what God has already willed you to be. He had already willed from the beginning that, okay, this lady, this man, this woman, she's going to be this, she's going to be that, and all that comes out because God created us perfect. When He finished creating us, He said we were perfect. We had all the things that He wanted us to be. It's just that maybe we had not become, because we had not gone through fire. We had not gone through difficult situations that will actually put pressure on us, so that those different characters that God has already created us to be are able to come out. There are different things that we learn when we're going through dryness. For example, we learn that when one door shuts, another door opens. When you're going through that process, when the door has been shut, you learn to trust God, to trust God during that time, because you know that this door shutting is not the end, is not the end of you, is not the end of good things in your life. It's just a season. This is just for a moment, and another door will open. So during this time, you learn not to be depressed. Depression will come, but you have to learn not to be depressed. You have to learn not to be anxious. You don't learn this straight away. Like the first time when you are still going through because this season doesn't just only come once. So through the seasons, through the different seasons of dryness, you learn, you become better for the next season. This season past, the next season when it comes, you will be a better person. For example, if this season you were anxious, if this season you were depressed, the next season you will learn not to be depressed and not to be anxious, but to trust God that He has got you at the palm of His hand. To trust God that because God took me out of that previous season, so this season again, you trust in the Lord. You know that God will take me out through this one again. That's why it's important that through the seasons we learn all the lessons that God brings. We learn those lessons. We don't take shortcuts. So we have to stay in that experience, in that lesson. That's why the seasons are full of lesson. Everything around you might be dry, but education, experience is never dry in the dry season. You always learn something. You always grow. You always take something out from that, from the kind of season that God has put you, has allowed you to go through. You come out with experience, and that experience can help you share with others, can help you in your next dry season, can help others when they are going through dry season. You can share with them. And yes, it will help you to be strong. It will help you to come out as a strong person that is going through fire, because most of these seasons there's so much pressure, there's so much things that are not going right. So you have to learn to guard your heart. You have to learn to be faithful to God. You have to learn to be righteous. You have to learn to be strong, really. You have to learn to be strong. So there is a lot of growing up. There is a lot of strength, of drawing strength from God, and that strength is going to help you on your next season, or even during the time where is no dryness. That strength that you have gained during your time when you're going through the wilderness will help you now when things are stable, when things are normal, because now you won't easily be anxious, you won't easily be depressed. You will have now more faith in God. It helps you to grow in Him. It helps you to grow in loving Him. It helps you to grow in knowing Him. To grow in trusting Him. So those are the important lessons that you come out with when you are going through the wilderness, or when you're going through the dry season in your life. So dry season is really important in our lives. It's not a nice season, but it's a very educative season. It's a season where you come out with lots of skills, because you learn to be a different person, to be a stronger person than you were when you went through that season. You always come out with something. You always come out with something that is strength, or even just not strength, but a relationship with God. Your relationship with God will actually be stronger. So you always come out with something good. You always come out with something good because of the educative aspect of it. It's really empowering lessons that you learn that will take you a long way in life. And not just only you, but you can help people around you when you have been through whatever season, because obviously there is many different seasons, and sometimes there will be somebody else that that is going through another different season. So you can always learn from each other. You can always share with others, with people around you. Obviously now there's social media where you can share with a broader audience. But even if you don't have a broader audience, you can always share with the people around you, your friends, your family, all relations around you. One thing I like to encourage us on is we should try not to be stagnant. We should try not to be idle during our dry season, because this is the time where you can collect a lot of information. You can collect a lot of lessons. You can collect a lot of experience, of education during the season. So don't make a mistake of just curling into yourself and be shutting everybody else, shut the outside world, and just be there like feeling pity for yourself that, oh, things are difficult in my life. How come other people they have things going for them, things are not going for me? No, don't take that time to don't use that time to do that. Use that time to learn lessons, to educate yourself. For example, I'll tell you myself, during one of my dry seasons, I went to university. And during the time when I went to university, things were really hard for me. I couldn't get student finance, which is the government body that which is the government body that gives you loan to go to university. During that time when I went to university, I didn't have that support from student finance, so I had to pay for my own education. And in this country, going to university is very expensive. That time when I went to university, it was 9,000 per year. So I had to pay that 9,000 per year by myself. Mind you, I'm going to university. I mean, I had to go to university. I had a family life that time. I was in a relationship. I had my family back home to take care of. So there were so many things. I had to pay my tuition fees. There's so many things that you have to have money for when you're at university. But I didn't have that money to support me. So I had to work. I had to work. I was working part time, so I was doing care work. Fortunately, the job that I was doing, it was giving me kind of reasonable money. I was able to use that money to take care of myself, family life, my family at home, even though I wasn't able to be able to send them money all the time. But I was able to do what I could do. I don't know how I did it. God did it. I don't know how He did it for me. I don't know how He did it. But yeah, I managed through that university life. I was able to pay my tuition fee. I wasn't able to pay all of it by the time I finished university. I think I was owing about 5,000, but I was able to pay the rest of it. The other thing that also helped me was I was saving. Before I started university, I had saved some money. So that money that I had saved, actually I had saved that money to deposit a house. But I thought, okay, maybe let me. The education is more important than buying a house at this time. It would be good for me to have a degree and look at buying a house at a later stage in life. So I used that money. So that money helped me to pay towards my tuition fee for the first year. And obviously, I was working as well during weekends. So I was using that money to take care of myself. I used my savings and the money that was from my part-time job, to take care of myself during university. And also during school holidays I went to work like full-time, so that did help. So that was important for me to go to university, because during that time when I went to university, I actually I networked, I met friendships, and some of the friendships that I met that time are beneficial now in my life. One of the students that I met, she became my friend, and later on in life we became partners, business partners. So for example, if I didn't go to university at that time, I wouldn't have met her probably. So I couldn't so if I didn't go to university at that time, I just stayed idle and stagnant and said, oh, things are difficult in my life, I'm not going to be going to any university. And mind you, I had a valid point that if I had chosen that was a valid point for me not to go to university after student finance refused to pay for me. But I said, no, I'm not going to let this put me down. I'm not going to let this stop me from going to university. Yeah, I went to university. I passed. I met good friendships. Yeah, so it was worth it. Obviously, I got a degree as well. So it was worth it. Going to university was worth it during my dry season. So during our dry season, we should not stay stagnant. We should not be idle. We should let God teach us. We should let God take us from one growth to another. You know, because it's a time for us to be empowered. It's a time for us to grow even in our faith. We must learn to persevere. We must learn to endure. We must learn to push ourselves, even in a situation where we feel like, okay, the situation is a hard situation. Because you never know what relations you will make, what relationship, you never know what relationships you will make during that time. Some people, they meet like actually their spouse during university. So you never know. You never know what people you meet during that time. But that doesn't mean that during dry season you should only just go to university. There's so many things that you can do. You can learn to bake. You can learn a sport. You can learn, there's so many things that you can learn. There's so much. You can take risk in different directions and see how it works. It might be successful, sometimes it might not be successful, but it's not the end of your life, or it's not the end of like good things in your life. There will always be, like I said, when one door shuts, another door open. So this is the time where you can just be opening different doors, and see what is on the other side of that door, because you never know what God has in store for you. Also during dry season is the time when we gain confidence. skills, because there is a lot of learning, there is a lot of experience. Like for example, when I went to university, even just that first week when I got my student card, just wearing that student card through my neck, it brought so much confidence. It brought so much confidence. I felt a different person. Even just studying, learning new things at university, it just makes you feel different. Carrying that bag with university, it just makes you a different person. So there's so much confidence that you can learn, when you are embarking yourself into an education or whatever education that, yeah, that is useful in your life. It really brings so much confidence in you. Even I was lucky that at university I also went to do internship. So for my internship, I got like I learned so many skills from that. So that as well boosted my confidence. There's so many things, when you go through the university life, that will boost your confidence. You speaking. I was doing lots of speaking at university. When you have to do presentations, so you learn to speak. You learn to write, you learn writing skills, you learn people skills, you learn, there's so much. You also learn to listen and to be under leadership, leadership, because your teacher is your leader. So you learn to be under leadership and be doing what your teacher is directing you to do. There's so much skills that you can learn, computer skills, lots of skills, so many skills that you can learn. So all those skills that you learn, they do boost your confidence. So even though it's dry season, even though it's wilderness, so much has to be learned. There is so much lesson. There is so much confidence building. There's so much faith building as well. Because, for example, throughout the university, when I finished university, I looked back. I was like, wow, God, it was you all the way. How did I even manage to finish university? How did I even manage to be able to do an internship and do a part-time job? Because that time I was working 7 days a week. I was able to do it, and I'm like, wow. So it increased my faith in God. It increased my love for Him, because I felt like, when God shows you that He loves you, obviously it does increase the way you love Him. So when I was seeing all the things that He had done for me during that university time, during that dry season, I came out having more love for God. I grew in loving Him. I grew in trusting Him. I grew in taking more risks, because I felt like when I take risks, God is there holding my hand. God is there being with me. When I come out from the other side, even if that risk that I have taken has didn't bring maybe the right kind of outcome that I expected, but I still feel like I come out with lessons. I feel still like I come out with a better relationship with God, because I gain that love for Him, I gain that faith in Him, I gain that trust in Him. So I feel like I grow even more when it's during dry season, because I feel like He's holding me. He goes in the storm with me and come out in the storm with me. So why would I not love Him more? Why would I not love him more when I know that He was there with me? Especially in dry season, because in dry season is usually the time where you lose lots of friends, where you lose of people, lots of people around you sometimes. So to see God being there with you, staying with you, sticking with you through it all, obviously it makes you love Him more. Another thing that we learn during dry season is to seek God diligently, to be steadfast in our seeking God. You learn to pray more, you learn to fast more, you learn to trust in Him more. So during that time, we should it's important to always just make prayer points, or the things that you want to pray for. Do a lot of praying and do a lot of fasting. Make the declaration of your life, that you know that, okay, at the moment you are in this wilderness, but when you come out of this wilderness, declare the things that you want to see in your life. Declare the changes that you want to see in your life. Speak it out. Tell God what you want and speak those things out. Use the word of God. Do a lot of reading of the word of God and speak out the word of God concerning the things that you want to change. So you speak out the word that is related to the things that you want to change, the doors that you feel they are shut at the moment. Speak to those doors to open. Declare the word of God upon those doors that are shut. Declare the word of God upon those things that in your life you feel they are not moving forward. They are stagnant. That's why I'm saying do lots of fasting, because there are some things the word of God that says there are things that God says this kind of maybe a problem that you are going through needs faith, prayer, and fasting. So it's important to fast, dedicate yourself in fasting, dedicate yourself in seeking Him. So in that way, changes will come when that season is over, when that period is over. The changes will come that you have declared in your life. So you declare the things that you want to see, the changes that you want to see. That is very essential. And it's also important just to give all to God, to surrender yourself to God, to surrender yourself to God, surrender everything to Him, and just let Him lead you. Especially during dry season, because there's a lot of heaviness. You feel like a lot of burden around you. So it's important to just let God help you with that burden, to ask Him to help you carry that burden. So the only way you can do that is to surrender to Him, all the things that you are feeling they are kind of a weight to you, they feel heavy. Let Him carry those things with you. In that way, you will learn to trust Him, you will learn to have faith in Him, you will learn to love Him more, especially when you come out on the other side and you see the changes, you see things falling into place. That will make the love for you escalate, that will make the love for Him escalate even much, much, much bigger than you actually anticipated. Another thing that we learn during dry season is, for example, for myself, that I actually learned during a dry season. I learned that it's okay not to show up at times. It's okay not to show up some days when you are really feeling down. Well, you are feeling sad. You are feeling a failure. You are feeling, oh God, where are you? It's okay to have those days. Those days will come, and it's okay. It's okay to have those days where you are just feeling, I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to sleep and eat ice cream. It's okay to have those days. Just make sure that you don't stay like that forever. You don't stay like that for the longest time ever. No, it's okay to feel like that for a short period of time, but make sure that you pull yourself up, because then if you don't, that will lead you to depression. So you don't want to stay in depression. Even if, let's say, for example, depression does come, try and pull yourself out of that, especially using the word of God, prayer, and telling people around you and asking for help, asking for prayer. Don't stay depressed. Don't stay depressed just because you are going through a dry season. Otherwise, it's okay to go through that roller coaster, because sometimes you wake up feeling up there, and another day you wake up feeling down there. So it's okay, because someday you really feel, oh God, where are you? Why are you not helping me? Why am I going through all this? Why do I have so many problems? Why do other people not have problems and I have problems all the time? You will feel like that. You throw that pity party. It's okay to throw it once in a while, but don't stay in that pity party forever. So it's okay to feel down sometimes, but try to pull yourself up. Learn to pull yourself up. That's the word I want to use. Learn to pull yourself up. So during this season is where you learn to pull yourself up. You learn to encourage yourself. David in the Bible, he encouraged himself, because it's not always that you will have people that will be around you to encourage you. And sometimes you might be going through things that you don't even want to share with others. So it will be you and God. So this is the best season to learn that intimacy with God, to learn that relationship, that you know that He is here all the time. He's the one that is always here. He's the one that you can always talk to, even the things that you feel like you cannot talk to anyone else to. But God is always here to listen, and He is always here to respond. So yeah, this is the time where you learn to have that really, really close, intimate relationship with Him, and immerse yourself deeply into that relationship. Once you learn to have that relationship with God, it's very important. It's very important, because you learn to be true to yourself. You learn to be naked before God. You learn to open yourself to God, and just tell Him everything. When you tell Him everything, when you learn to be naked in front of Him, it helps you to build that intimate relationship with Him, because now He knows everything about you. Just tell Him everything. Tell Him even the things that you feel like God Himself is not doing for you, because you might feel like, oh, why is it always me? Why am I always in trouble and not coming out of it? Or why does it take a long time for me to come out of problems? ask him all those questions, because then you will learn to talk with him. You will learn to have that relationship where you are talking to him and he's talking back to you. That is the best time for you to learn that, when you're going through difficult times, because most of the time you find that even the relationship with people is shut. You find that it's shut. Those doors of having good relationship with people is shut, because you kind of not open yourself up. But when you don't open yourself up to people, please do open yourself up to God. Let God see the inside of you. Let God, already he sees the inside of you, but he says it with you not knowing. But now that you know that you want him to say it, open up to him. Tell him everything. Tell him your feelings, because even if you don't tell God your feelings, God already knows your feelings. So what's the point of hiding your feelings? Even though the thoughts in your heart that maybe you are feeling towards God, maybe anger, maybe resentment, maybe sadness, maybe feeling that God is failing you, or anything that you are feeling towards God, God already knows that you're feeling those feelings. So tell him that how you feel, because maybe that will break the ice between the two of you, and you'll be able to communicate. So that is very important, and it's a special moment, really, to have that time with God, where you are opening up to him. It's not always easy, but try your best to open up to him, and make that ground for the two of you to talk, to talk and have those conversations, those deep conversation, those difficult conversation, those conversation where you feel like he is not coming up for you. Tell him this is how you feel. That is very important. That is very important. That is what helps to build the relationship, especially when you feel like you can't tell anyone, there is no one around you to help you. Having that moment with God is very important, having that relationship. So I just want to say thank you so much for listening to this video. Hopefully it has helped you, and I hope to see you in my next video. I really appreciate your support by listening to my videos. So thank you very much. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye.